This is MaiCoin with MaiView. This is not investment advice. Bitcoin mining is such a waste of energy. One potential Bitcoin investor recently told me that they wouldn't invest in Bitcoin given the environmental damage that Bitcoin mining creates. Another potential Bitcoin investor recently told me that Bitcoin mining was using more energy than several countries, including Ireland, and asked me how could this be acceptable by advocates of the cryptocurrency. In CoinCenter's latest energy report, they noted that we have seen these types of concerns related to technology before. In the year 2000, many reports claimed that the internet was using 8% of all energy and computers an additional 5%, and that these in aggregate would hit 50% 10 years later. These estimates were proven to be vastly overstated, just as CoinCenter believe current estimates and fears on Bitcoin mining are. Maybe they have a point, maybe they don't. Does the goal justify the means? To answer this question, we need to ask, what is Bitcoin and what is it trying to achieve? As recently described in a primer by Galaxy Digital, Bitcoin is an independent alternative system for global money that does not rely on a third-party intermediary to facilitate transactions. Why is it deemed important? Again, from the same report, government-issued money is susceptible to rapid supply increases compared to its existing stock through central bank activity, and therefore has the potential to lead to a rapid loss of salability, diminishment of purchasing power, and wealth depreciation of its current holders, as we have seen throughout the late 1900s and 2000s with the suspension of the gold standard. Bitcoin mining is an integral part of securing this network and the value stored in it. Why would I care about this? So the idea behind Bitcoin is to allow users to store value in a digital cash that aims to return the store of value property to money. Seems a noble cause. Why would you care? If you were recently living in Venezuela or in Zimbabwe, it may be more easily apparent as inflation destroyed all value in remaining currencies, and hence people lost all their savings. For the rest of us, the situation is a little more nuanced at first sight. Global central banks in recent years have targeted inflation of 2%. What does that mean? It means the purchasing power of the currency in your savings falls every year. The US dollar has quietly lost more than 95% of its purchasing power since the early 20th century. Whilst we are conditioned to invest our money in assets such as bonds, equities, and property to avoid this wealth destruction from inflation, if there was a money or digitally secure money like Bitcoin that couldn't have its value inflated away by a government, would you choose to have some of your wealth stored in this manner? Probably yes. So what cost is acceptable? Today's Bitcoin market value is roughly 150 billion US dollars. That means 150 billion of value or wealth is being secured by the Bitcoin network. If we assume that the trends of the last 3 cycles in Bitcoin's history continue to play out, this value may be nearer $1.5 trillion in the next few years, as more people choose to store value or wealth in this manner. So what cost would be acceptable cost to secure the equivalent of $1.5 trillion US dollars, or equivalent to 50% of the United States M1, their physical currency and equivalents? What's the cost for the US to secure its currency? Part of America's cost to secure the US dollar as a reserve currency for the world is its massive military budget, well over $600 billion per year, which would obviously exclude many hidden costs as well. So what does it cost to secure Bitcoin? A recent report from CoinCenter's Jonathan Koomey summarized 3 credible analyst reports putting Bitcoin's energy consumption at 0.2% of global energy consumption, or 44 terawatt hours. They estimate that Bitcoin mining facilities add about 20 to 25% energy demand to all the other non-Bitcoin mining facilities, which would include conventional data centers. Does 0.2% of global energy consumption, or about $4.4 billion actual cost at 0.1 kilowatt hours, or equivalent of only 70 basis points of US annual military budget, does that seem an excessive energy cost for a global digital cash returning store of value to money? Not really. Another report by CoinShares' Christopher Bendixson, Samuel Gibbons, and Eugene Lim had some great data points in defense of Bitcoin mining. Did you know that Bitcoin mining actually derives more than 77% of its energy from renewable sources? Did you know that Bitcoin mining is positively contributing to the development of renewable energy projects by subsidizing the capex of these projects in areas that would be otherwise non-economical and left inaccessible to the electricity grid at large? Did you know that the combined total Bitcoin mining network draws less power per day than the top global gaming consoles running for just 4 hours per day? Did you know that enough hydropower is wasted in Yunnan and Sichuan, China alone to power the Bitcoin mining network many times over? In summary, much of the mainstream press coverage on Bitcoin energy use appears to be vastly overstated, much like mainstream media press coverage of the internet in the early 2000s. With Bitcoin looking to reintroduce sound money to society and the mining process being integral to securing that money, the goal maybe justifies the means. The current energy cost of $4.4 billion per annum to secure a digital form of censorship-resistant money, given the current value of $150 billion stored in that money, and possibly rising to $1.5 trillion in the next few years, based off the last 3 Bitcoin cycles, seems a nominal amount. The reality is that much of this energy cost comes from renewables. In many cases, Bitcoin mining is funding or subsidizing these renewable projects, and similar energy use is consumed by mainstream gaming consoles. Lastly, the cost on the face of it may be high, but overstated and arguably worthwhile given the goals of Bitcoin and when compared to other forms of arguable energy waste. This was MaiCoin, MaiView. Happy Friday.